Hey, what's up guys? Going to reviews here, and I'm going to be making some ramen noodles. Super weird, even for me. That's not what the video is about though. The video is about Gojira, So, hold on, you only have to listen to this for a little bit longer. So, as you guys know, because I'm sure you're just avid watchers of my channel, I've been collecting the Godzilla movies, all of them. And when I say all of them, I mean all of them. Including the Mysterians and Varen the Invincible and Lighting the Impossible. Jeez. Okay. Anyways, though, it's a bootleg, so when you put it in, it just basically goes to like a scene selection thing. It's weird. Anywho, because the thing that tipped me off, right, was like that disc. I was like, that's not official, and then the back of it looks weird too. So whatever, I bought a bootleg, who hasn't? Who hasn't? Who hasn't? You know. However, this is my copy of the Showa collection. I actually got this on Etsy. I wish I could shout out the seller, actually. But Gojira is a really good movie, in my opinion. Shocker, I know. Wow. First movie good that spawned an entire franchise for the past, 70 years? But no, seriously, by the way, this is where we're getting into the ramen noodles, okay? And this is where we're getting into the weird stuff. Anywho, let me put you back where you were earlier. How did I have it? Like this, yes. Anywho. So... But no, it held up shockingly well. There's kind of this, element I feel like sometimes with old movies, especially, old monster movies, where it's kind of like you have to just take it for what it is, you know what I mean? You have to be like, alright, it's the best they could do at their time, and blah, blah, blah. And this movie does have one or two things about that is the, take it for what it is. But it held up surprisingly well. I'm going in with a modern lens. I did not watch this one as a kid, so I have no nostalgic attachment to it. I have no, prior connection, no history, no blah, 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 blah. So, but it instantly, from the first time I watched it, went up to the top of my list as far as, I actually care, I like these human characters. I do care. I remember, God, do I remember their names? See, this isn't even this movie. If you watch, a lot of my videos, you'll know I just really cannot remember names. I'm so terrible with that. Well, I remember Dr. Serizawa, right? And then there's his sister, and then there's the guy who's dating his sister, and then there's the dad of the sister, and also Dr. Serizawa. But I really like this movie, and I really like the implications. It kind of gave me, Planet of the Apes vibes, specifically the first one in 1961? Correct me if I'm wrong. But anyways, it reminded me a lot of the first Planet of the Apes, where it's just kind of a very real look at, the psyche of humanity and, kind of stuff like that. Whereas that kind of goes in its own direction. This goes in its own direction by basically, because, the whole thing about it's a it's a metaphor for nuclear warfare. Not gonna tell you anything new about that. That just, that's the thing that everybody knows. I know that. But I'm just saying, and it's kind of, man's destruction and stuff like that. And in this movie, in the Godzilla universe, the nuclear bomb definitely happened, I always kind of wondered that, if, I know that's a dumb thing, but, to wonder, but, did it happen, or is Godzilla this universe's nuclear bomb? No, it happened. It happened, full on. Anywho, yeah, it definitely happened, and that kind of plays into the movie, because like towards the end, spoilers, like huge spoilers, but Dr. Zerazawa has to basically, like, he's working on this thing called an oxygen destroyer, which, like, he's, from the vibe I get, I don't know, I'm not saying, like, exactly, I'm saying my interpretation. From the vibe I get, he was working on it because it's like, if he has so much resentment on it, and why is he building it? Uh, he was working on it basically as a retaliation for, the atomic bomb and stuff like that, and basically, like, this worst thing. However, once he creates it, he has, like, a change of heart, and he's like, holy cow, what have I done? Um, and he doesn't want this thing to, be out there, the oxygen destroyer. It's, like, too awful. And he regrets his decisions to the point where there's a point where they want him to basically come out with it, because it's secret at first, they want him to come out with it and say, like, hey, I have this thing to defeat Godzilla. And they're like pushing him and pushing him and pushing him to, like, come out and, blah blah blah. And he literally threatens to, like, himself. And that's wild. Like, he's, like, it's that much weighing on his soul. This is a very serious movie, and I mean that in the best way. Like, I love it. I love a good serious Godzilla. I like the fun, goofy, haha too, don't get me wrong. But a thought-provoking, like, good serious Godzilla, that's my cup of tea as well. I like all kinds of tea. I like hot tea, cold tea, raspberry, ginger, lemon, a little bit of honey in there. I like all kinds of tea. You know? But he finally does, and, blah, 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 and like, the whole movie. I'm not gonna go beat for beat, but I do want to show you these two moments that really don't hold up. Alright, so I can't find it. It's just this one scene where you can absolutely tell, like, the model, like first of all, the miniatures are very convincing, and the city is good, and the suit is peak in this movie. Like, the suit looks so good in this movie. Here's how ramen's going along, by the way. Well, just take my word for it. Anyways, so I put, like, a whole bunch of seasonings in it and cheese in it, and now I'm gonna stir it up. Now, all that's pretty normal, but here's where the weird stuff comes in. Anyways, about Godzilla, there's just, like, one scene where you can tell, like, they really were a little too confident in that prop. It's like, this truck, and it's, like, driving along, and then crashes, and it looks very fake, and you can see, like, the little claymation dudes, the little dolls or whatever. Besides that, everything, I think, pretty much holds up. I really like it. I like the thought-provokingness, and I like the realism of, like, hey, this is... I've always loved Godzilla. And to finally go back and actually watch this one, Vigo, Calamar Colossal. Putting some squid in my ramen. That's what I'm talking about. We're getting weird. I might ruin this. Who knows? Anyways, I'm going to drain the liquid. But no, to finally go back and watch this, like, original movie, like, I see it. I see why this got so popular. And that's not always a given, Like, one of my favorite movie series is Mad Max. Go back and watch that first Mad Max. Might be a hot take, might not. I don't know how strongly people feel about it. I hate the first Mad Max. I think it's terrible. I think there's, like, maybe one or two redeeming scenes where it's like, alright, I guess it's not the worst thing I've ever seen, but, like, it's terrible. I hate the first Mad Max. But then, you immediately, jump ship over to, also putting, Kipper snacks in it. Anyways, you immediately jump ship over into, like, the Road Warrior, and the Road Warrior, peak cinema, It's like, holy cow, we could have been doing this in the first movie? Why didn't we, It's so good, it's so good, Let me tear this up, actually. But, yeah, so the first movie being good is not always a guarantee. I think, that first Mad Max is terrible, but this first Godzilla, peak cinema, man. I can see it. I can see why. honestly, if I was like watching the first Mad Max like back in the day when it came out, I probably would have hated it. You know? I mean, I technically do, but you know what I mean. I probably wouldn't have been a fan. Thankfully, my first movie was actually The Road Warrior. Just lucked out that way, I guess. You know? So instead of being this stupid movie from like the, 80s, 70s, or whatever it was, that was like really weird, it turned out to be like, oh, this awesome movie from the 70s or 80s or whatever it was that is super badass and has a lot of action, you know? Alright, so here's a little bit of squid in my ramen noodles. Let's get a live reaction, right? See, there's the squid. Oh. Yeah, it was pretty good. Did I tell you guys I put cheese in it? I put cheese in it. That's pretty decent. But yeah, this has been a super scatterbrained look. I didn't have a lot to say, but I definitely want to say, like, it's super hard to be positive, I'm not the first person on the internet to say that, But, like, negative, if I had a whole bunch of negative points, I could have told you, oh, I hated when this happened, I hated that part, this bad, this effect is bad. That's easy. But when it's good points and good positive views and stuff like that, basically the review just boils down to go watch it. Just go watch it. Because seriously, watch the first Godzilla movie. Like, it's called Gojira, And it holds up. It holds up. It is so good. And I'm going to watch the entire series. Actually, so far, put a little bit of spoilers out there, I have watched Gojira, Godzilla Raids Again, and Rodan, as far as the, like, Showa era series goes. So far. We'll get to that. I've been Scavenger Reviews. Catch you on the next one. Like, comment, subscribe, hype me up, all that stuff, and I'm gonna eat some ramen. Out.